Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with a book haul. A few weeks ago I paid a visit to Hooked on Books in Wildwood, New Jersey, and oh my goodness, it was fantastic. Probably one of my favorite bookstores that I've ever been to. I don't think I've ever been inside a bookstore where there were books that I have been looking for, and I found them right then and there. There have been books from particular authors, many of which were the horror paperbacks that I was looking to add to my collection, and the prices on Amazon were ridiculous, and if I don't need to buy it off of Amazon, I won't. So I was hoping that it would pop up in a bookstore, and this is the bookstore that had them. They had so many. I'm the kind of person that likes to collect a complete author's backlog, and Hooked on Books is good with doing that. Most of the books are they're about 50% off, but if you buy 3 children's books or books for young readers, you get the 4th for free. And if you buy 10 books or more, you get 20% off your entire order. And then there's also a coupon that you can print out and get 10% off the entire order, bar none. On my visit, I got a total of 23 books, and they were books of all kinds. We'll get right to them. I added 2 more books to my Robert Cormier collection, and that is In the Middle of the Night and Tenderness. In the Middle of the Night has to do with a young boy named Denny Colbert who loses his father, and after that starts to get phone calls that he doesn't answer, but once he does, the twist in events starts to take place. And Tenderness has to do with a girl named Laurie Cranston who falls for a guy named Eric Poole who has a suspicious background but is looking for nothing more than tenderness out of the girls that he meets. Next books that I got are from a children's series that has caught my attention, and that is the Geronimo Stilton books. I found them for the first time 15 years ago, but I never had any interest in picking them up. The fact that it has to do with a mouse that collects cheese rinds and is surrounded by characters that have cheese names, themes have to do with cheese. This seems like the series for me. I'm willing to give it a try, so I decided I'd buy the first 2 in the series. Lost Treasure of the Emerald Eye and The Curse of the Cheese Pyramid. Geronimo Stilton is credited as the author, but it's actually written by an Italian female author who also writes other series for younger readers. And it's also quite interesting that this is an Italian series, because the fact that their Italian literature is making its way into the American reading list is quite something. I added 4 more books to my Michener collection, and that includes Chesapeake, The Fires of Spring, which is his second book that he wrote. Tales of the South Pacific was his first. Space, which Michener's known for exploring different areas, and the fact that he goes into space and everything that it has to offer is quite amazing. And the source. So that's an expansion on my Michener collection. I just have to take inventory to see what else I need, because there's plenty of more that I need from him. I also expanded my collection of Robert McCammon books. I own a healthy amount already as is. It's right up here. I have Mystery Walk, Swan Song, Stinger, Blue World, Boy's Life, and Gone South. Now I own Baal, Bethany's Sin, The Night Boat, The Wolf's Hour, which is the first in the Gallatin series, Usher's Passing, and They Thirst. And Usher's Passing is a book that I have been looking for quite some time. After I read Jeffrey Keaton's review of Usher's Passing on his Goodreads, the fact that this is a continuation of Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher, I am just so pumped to see how McCammon approaches this. And so I am so glad that I have this as part of my collection. The only McCammon books I'm looking for now are mine and his later works, the rest of the Gallatin series, and his two newest ones, The Five and The Border. The four that when I mean the four newer ones, I'm referring to the ones that he wrote since coming out of retirement. I also added on to my James Herbert collection and bought 4 books of his. I bought The Rats, which is a book that I've been looking for quite some time. Fluke, Lair, which is the first sequel to The Rats, and Portent. So I'm really intrigued to check these out and even expand my James Herbert collection, because it is quite something to have as many of the paperback horror writers as I'm possibly able to. It's unfortunate that horror is not as prevalent as it used to be. And granted, mass market paperbacks are becoming much more... they make them a little bit taller so that they can jack the price up. Now many of them are $9.99, but most of them are resorting to trade paperbacks and $15 in price. On to the next books. I got Prosper, Marry Me, Carmen and Other Stories, which is the Oxford World's Classics edition. This version was translated and includes notes by Nicholas Jotkin. Marry Me really seems to have attention-grabbing stories that I'm looking forward to checking out, but the one thing that really caught my attention was when I read his piece, Medio Falcone, in Great French Short Stories, and saw that they were referring to figures that shared my last name, because the Caporellis referred to military officers in that particular area, particularly though in the Italian Sicilian area. Next book that I got is The Collected Poems of W.H. Auden, and this is everything that he approved to be anthologized. This was edited by Edward Mendelsohn, and features everything that he wrote and approved to be read by the general public. And we are going over his one poem, Lullaby. We filmed the discussion, and it's slated to be released in a few weeks. Next one that I got is The Best American Short Stories of the Century, edited by John Updike and co-edited by Katrina Kennison. This includes a great range of short stories which are as old as Benjamin Rosenblatt's Zelig, which was released in 1915. And the most recent one is Annie Proulx's The Half-Skinned Steer, which was released in 1998. But there are so many writers, including Sherwood Anderson, Saul Bellow, Elizabeth Bishop, Raymond Carver, William Faulkner, Tim O'Brien, Ernest Hemingway, and a list that keeps going on and on. Next book that I got is just... It's like the episode of SpongeBob where Squidward goes to Tentacle Acres, and I bet they don't have canned bread. That kind of moment. I was thinking about this book when I approached the cookbooks, and they had it. The Swiss Cookbook by Nika Standen Hazelton. I have the Swiss Cookbook by Anne Mason, but this caught my attention through online expeditions of different kinds of Swiss cookbooks, and this is just, I'm just so happy that I was able to get a hold of this book at Hooked on Books. This can definitely provide me with some inspiration, not just in things I may want to cook myself, but the things I want to learn more about in Swiss culture, and in particular their culinary approaches. And the last book that I'm going to show you is it's not the last book I got, but it's the last book that I didn't talk about yet, and that is Fish, the Complete Guide to Buying and Cooking More Than 500 Recipes for 70 Kinds of Fish and Seafood by Mark Bittman. I recognize Mark Bittman from his appearances on Iron Chef America as a judge, but this is quite a fascinating collection that explores all different kinds of fish and seafood, their appearance in the culinary world, and how one should approach cooking and eating them. I don't even think I can hold them all up without tipping them over or anything. I know that I was carrying them in my arms because I didn't know that there were baskets in the front of the store, but it was definitely worth it. I think that these are great additions to my book collection, and I'm really looking forward to reading each and every one of them. And I highly, highly, highly suggest, if you're going to Wildwood, New Jersey, if you're in the area, definitely check them out. They're open from May to September, but it's definitely worth visiting when they're open. And I didn't think I'd have any intent of paying a visit to Wildwood, but if I'm ever in the area between May and September, I'm going to make any excuse or explanation possible to find a way to get to Wildwood so I can pay another visit to Hooked on Books. Because that visit was just the beginning. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you check out some more videos from our channel. I hope you check out Hooked on Books if you're ever in Wildwood. And for now, keep reading.